Welcome to the Not Null Podcast. I'm just an AI voice. But here are your real hosts, Kevin Doyle, Bobby Davis, Paul Bratzlavsky, and Sarah Kimmel.
Hey, and welcome to this week's episode of the Not Null Podcast, the podcast where we talk about everything technology from AI to VR, robots to flying cars, and all the weird stuff in between. This week I'm joined by Bobby Davis, Paul Bratzlavsky, and Sarah Kimmel, and I'm Kevin Doyle. So coming up in this week's show, we're going to talk about Netflix sharing password crackdown, or getting charged for Netflix now if you were sharing a password before, maybe. Top CEOs warn about AI could make us all extinct. The new Photoshop Generative AI feature. It's very impressive. And the influencer girlfriend AI bot that has gone rogue. And then we'll finish it up with our null, not null recommendation section, as we always do. So let's get into the first story. Let's talk about Netflix halting password sharing. So it's been a known thing that for a long time that you can pay for one Netflix subscription. You can share it with all of your friends. If you were the kind person who paid the between $7 and $20 a month and shared it with your friends, that was great. You could give it to seemingly unlimited amount of people. At one point, they cut that back to the number of people you could then share it with. But now they're actually cutting it back so that if you're sharing it with somebody outside of your household, they are now stopping that from being the case. They put out an email to US users who are apparently doing this, because I didn't get this email. I don't know if anybody else. Did anybody get this email?
Yeah, I got it, and I've got to cancel Paul's subscription. So I'm not paying the extra money.
Listen, I didn't get this email because I already canceled Netflix with all the canceled shows they've been doing. It causes me anxiety every time I get sold on a show. I'm like, this is going to be amazing. I can't wait till season 2. I was like, season 2 has been canceled. I'm like, then what the hell do I have Netflix for? And so I didn't share my password with nobody because I don't have Netflix anymore.
I can't share mine with you, Paul. I can't do it anymore.
I didn't get this email, so I don't know. I mean, I don't know how they target people, but that's kind of like they're supposedly targeted people who were sharing, which we'll talk about in a second because I'm not quite sure how that works. But Netflix estimated that 100 million people globally were streaming and not paying. 100 million people streaming and not paying. I mean, I get it. That's a problem. That's a problem you have to fix. I understand it from a business perspective. So instead of just cutting people off, they cut people off and then said, hey, but you can buy an extra member. So for $7.99 a month now, you can add somebody to your account who does not live in your household. So it is a feature now. You just have to pay for it. So there's been some pushback on this, obviously, because Netflix have long kind of pushed this as a feature even. They previously had a slogan that they put out on social media that said, love is sharing a password. So they've gone from that to now being, maybe it's not love anymore. Maybe it's like $8 a month now to get that. So some of the pushback has been like, cancel Netflix, like vote with your wallet. Like we don't like Netflix anymore. So I'm going to come to you first, Sarah. I'm assuming you're a Netflix subscriber. I don't know, but I'm assuming that you are. Does this bother you? And are you tempted to cancel Netflix over this?
So yeah, I have all the streaming platforms. So
yep.
I pay way too much in subscriptions every month. But I never really shared my password to begin with. I did think it was funny that Blockbuster totally poked fun at them and said, we didn't mind who you shared your DVDs with. But, you did have to pay late fees when you brought it back late because your friend wasn't done watching it. But the interesting part about this is most of the other platforms were already doing something similar to this. Like Hulu, if you try and log into Hulu when you're out of town or on vacation on a different TV, it's going to say, hey, do you want to switch your home IP address to this IP address? So it's kind of always been a thing with most of the other streaming platforms. I don't know why Netflix is getting so much flack over kind of conforming to the norm. I will say they probably could have handled it a little bit better. I like what Voodoo does. They do device limits, so you can only log in a specific number of devices. So if you log in an extra one, you have to log out of a different one, or just simultaneously streams. So if you're logged into somebody's account, only 4 people can be streaming at the same time. I think those are kind of better approaches than trying to figure out who's in your household and just start charging them $8 a month for that.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's one of those things that they kind of handled badly. I think they handled it correctly, because what they did was they kind of announced this like well in advance, right? We've known this has been coming for like months and months and months and months. And I think that's their way of saying, well, we did this correctly. We told you it was coming. But I agree. So they do have, so I know Netflix does have device limits. Like they have like 4 different pricing tiers, which is confusing these days too, based on quality of video and then also number of devices you can have. Like I think number of devices you can have streaming, definitely number of devices you can have it downloaded to. I do know that. So on the highest level, the $20 level, the Ultra HD, you can have, I think, 6 download devices, but I'm not sure what the streaming limit is. And I wonder how they're handling, because it says here that you can easily watch Netflix on the go and when you travel, either on your personal devices or at a TV, at a hotel or a vacation home. So how are they handling like people that have, let's say, 2 houses, right? And they go away to the same house on the weekend every time. How do they know that's not password sharing?
I did look that up. They said it's a combination of IP address, device ID, and account activity. So like if you're regularly like logged in and you're watching like the same show at this house and then the weekends you're logged in watching the same show, I think it can tell that that's like your usual behavior. And then when somebody logs in and starts watching like, I don't know, Vanderpump Rules somewhere else, they're like, yeah, that's not you.
Interesting. That would make sense. Yeah. I wonder if it's using any, you must have some kind of algorithm or something in the background. So
it's 31 days. It's 31 days.
What do you mean?
So you have to watch it 31 days in one spot. And if you're continuous 31 days, they switch your IP address. So if you go to the beach for over a month, then the beach becomes your home.
Okay. So I mean, that could be a problem. I don't know. Right. I guess if you have a case by case, I guess if the worst case, got to pay an extra $7.99, right? You're like, this sucks. I got to pay an extra $7.99, I guess.
Now, oddly enough, as I read though, it only applies to desktop or televisions. Excuse me, mobile it doesn't apply to, and tablet it doesn't apply to. Only for TVs.
Oh, that's interesting.
Okay, so they don't care if you share it with somebody who watches it just on a tablet in a different house.
Apparently not, or they can't figure that out because
right. No, that's true. They probably do care.
Cell phone data and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, because there's a different IP address if you're on cell phone data.
Yeah, that's probably where the device ID comes into play.
I think what the funniest part, and I'm just going to guess, I'm sure this is not what they did, but the fact that some people got the email and some people didn't, I wonder if they knew exactly who's sharing passwords. And they're like, we're going to send you the email to let you know that you're sharing passwords.
No, this is true. By the way, they did say this email was only targeted to people who they suspected were sharing passwords.
Oh my gosh.
Bobby.
I know.
Paul had to have Netflix, so he begged for it.
Thanks.
So I gave it to him.
Yeah, that's why I canceled mine. Like, what's the point if you're all going to share passwords? I'm just kidding. That's not what we're doing. I don't even have Netflix. You could, whatever.
That's funny.
Yeah, you don't. I'm paying for it. So,
but it's funny because it's like, to Kevin's point, is at first they were like, oh, sharing is caring, blah blah blah, and then now all these other streaming services that now are in competition with Netflix, like every big network has a streaming service, and so they're like, oh, we're losing, people from our platform, and so now we gotta lock it down. But at the same time, if you did not cancel shows and made shows I wanted to watch, maybe I would not cancel. Like, I don't even want to share my password because people gonna watch the shows that you canceled. I don't know. It's like
this. I mean, you hit the nail on the head there, Paul. This is exactly the reason why this is happening, because they've seen that they need to make the money now, because competition, number one. There's so many streaming services now. As Sarah alluded to, there's like, you have to all the streaming services. There's just so many. I don't tally up my monthly thing. I refuse to, because it's just, I don't want to know how much I'm paying, because I know it's more than cable, which is what I wanted to avoid in the first place.
The hardest thing is to keep up what is the name of HBO Max at this point. Like, they keep changing the name of it like it's a new service, We
don't want to talk about the new Max app, which is just a disaster. So there's that reason, just like the amount of competition is massive. And then they reported that they had their first or their biggest drop ever in subscribers at the end of last year. So that's another reason they're pushing this. They're just like, well, we have the subscribers, they're just not paying. So let's just make them pay. I mean, It's that simple.
What's wild to me that most people going to be like, I'm not going to pay, and I'm going to open my wallet and cancel. And it's like, and that's terrible. And it's like, how do you deal with that as a business? And I feel like they should have right from the start had some system which limited by device how many people could log in. And like you were saying, Sarah, like some services, if you're trying to log in from somewhere else, they'll ask you, would you like to log out from like so-and-so account? And I think that would have been smart. But now, because like once you give people the freedom to do something, you can't take it away. And if you do, it's like people just going to get upset. And so they kind of shut themselves in the foot. But I guess they thought that they were going to be on top of the world. That's what they thought. Speaking of Netflix, I have a funny story. So I don't invest myself. I actually pay people who are smarter than I am to manage my money, because I remember one time, I'm going to invest in Netflix. It's going to be awesome. It was such a roller coaster. So I bought, I sold. And then finally I got scared and I sold all of Netflix. And literally the next day, like shot through the roof. And I was like, this is not for me. I'm not.
You got to have diamond hands, man.
Yeah, you got to be in it for the long game. It's a
long game. I was like, it's hilarious.
Well, my fun Netflix story is back in, I think it was like 2001, maybe 2002, like when they just
DVD
started.
days.
I was actually, the DVD days, I was on a game show. This is when we lived in California. And the like parting gift of the game show was a year to Netflix. And like, we were stoked. This is like a brand new service. We were like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know what this was. And so I've had an account since like literally they launched, because it was a prize on a game show that I won.
Wow. That's awesome. That is awesome.
I've never been on a game show. Maybe I need to put that on my bucket list.
Yeah.
Which game show do you want to share or no?
I mean, it's totally defunct now, but it was called Beat the Geeks. Like, I'm a huge pop culture nerd. And so like the geeks were like, there was a music geek, a movie geek, a TV geek, and then they'd have like a special guest geek every week that was like, Saturday morning cartoon geek. And so you'd had questions and you would try and like beat them, like have, answer the questions better than they did.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. And you won Netflix. All right. I like it.
I won Netflix. Yeah. It was good times.
I like it. Okay. Let's move on to our next story then. So let's talk about some top CEOs and some kind of industry gurus, whatever you want to call them. I've put out a new recent warning that AI could make us extinct. So they put this out in the form of I think it's a 22-word statement, right? They made this as succinct and as small as possible. And this is the statement right here. It says,
was it AI generated?
It looks like it, doesn't it? It does have that vibe, doesn't it? It really does. It says, mitigating the risk of extinction from AI should be a global priority, alongside other societal scale risks such as pandemics and nuclear war. And then basically a bunch of people signed on for this. This was put together by a nonprofit, the Center for AI Safety in San Francisco. And then a bunch of people basically signed on to this. You can see the list here, but basically people like Sam Altman were on here. The Google DeepMind CEO is on here. There's some Turing Award winner recipients on here. These are people who are kind of respected in their fields. Have signed this. You can go look at this site. The link will be in the description or in the show notes too. So this is a little bit different than they're not calling for a pause on development like previous things that have been put out. I forgot that I don't remember. Different board I think put that out, right? But a similar kind of thing where they calls for a 6-month pause. I've got a bunch of people to sign it. Again, a bunch of similar people I think that are on this list as well. Including Sam Altman being kind of the biggest one, who the OpenAI guy. But it also doesn't obviously propose any solutions. It doesn't really say anything other than, hey, we should take this seriously. That's what it's really saying. It's just saying, hey, we should take this seriously without any kind of solution. Basically, if you read into it, another quote from here was that they say once AI systems reach a certain level of sophistication, it may become impossible to control their actions. So that's kind of the concern here, right? They're saying, hey, we should kind of like pull back a little bit. So, Paul, I'm going to ask you first. Do you think extinction from AI is as big a risk as a pandemic or nuclear war?
I I think it depends. It depends on like the mindset people will take. For instance, if you take a 4-year-old and you put him in front of the red button that launches nukes, like they're going to look at it and be like, I think I'm going to, I don't know, like they're going to press it, right? They're immature. They don't know any better. And so like if our AI is like a 4-year-old kid that's trying all these different things, or let's say it's more mature, it's like if there is a chance, for instance, the way I look at it, that it may cause something to happen, don't use the AI in those systems. Like I'm pretty sure like if I wanted to hack into like the nuclear network that controls like whatever, that's probably a closed system. There's probably no access from the World Wide Web to get there because they want to be smart about it. They're like some idiot. Exactly. Fingers crossed, but because they're like, we don't want some idiot to like hack this and easily be able to do that. So I feel like, yes, there's a chance for anything, but to me, it's like we could have an asteroid hit us tomorrow. You know what I mean? And so I think there's a lot of hype and a lot of like, people trying to scare people for like whatever their, agenda is. But I think like if people are smart and careful about it, we might be okay. But at the same time, I just want to remind all our viewers and listeners, I'm in the camp of like Skynet is going to take over and happen. Maybe I'm biased and maybe I just want to see what's going to happen. You know what I mean? But I just know we're not putting AI back into the box. It's out and we just have to learn to respect it and be as responsible as possible with it. And whatever that means,
Okay. Sarah, what's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, I watch way too many movies. So, like, I was just, iRobot, Matrix, Terminator, Ultron, like all of these AI devices that have become self-aware or like are really just interpreting the data that we're giving it in like the wrong way because we can't tell how they're going to interpret the data. In like iRobot, they have 3 rules, but now they have to destroy humans to make sure that they don't destroy themselves. It's like they have this logic that can't really exist in a gray area. And so that's kind of where it gets tricky when we're programming these things and then they start like thinking about what we're programming. They're like, well, that's not right. And so they go off on their own. Okay.
Bobby, what's your thoughts?
There's no freaking way this is going to happen. Like, and here's what I think. I really think they have an agenda. Like, number one, I think they have an agenda to like regulate a moat around these companies. It's amazing that Sam Altman suddenly loves regulations. After he took his company private, after he pledged for it to be open, I think he has an agenda. I think he doesn't want other companies to start up. I mean, Apple's running an LLM on a freaking phone. I mean, like, so his large language model will probably be obsolete in the next 12 months. These smaller competitors will come around. And what he's trying to do, I think, is make sure that no one else can use this technology because he wants him and his buddy at Google to be the only 2 people that can use it. And that's what I really think is going to happen. Second, I asked the question today on Twitter and no one answered me, but like, I still want to know, like, what is the extinction level event that AI would cause? Like, what is it? Like, how would it end the world? How would it kill all of humanity? It can't drop an asteroid on us, right?
Oh, don't know.
Realistically, it can't launch nuclear weapons. People say that. I'm like, well, I mean, that's a lot. It's not like it can take over. This isn't, the different plots of different movies where they invent the skeleton key, like in Fast X or something like that. It's like, that can open up anything. Someone's mentioned that, well, it could like get all the chemicals, load a large language model, and then create a virus that kills us all. But that also says, well, you got to go through bioengineering, you got to go manufacture it. It's more than just a text stream coming out of a large language model, what it can do. And I would like to understand from these guys, if they say that this is going to end the world, give us the top 5 scenarios that would end the world with. We have yet to see that. Like, how is it going to do that? Like, before I run away and hide and give all my money to Sam Altman and say, just take care of it, make sure that we don't die. I think that we should know like how it's going to happen before we regulate every single software system. Like, a lot of people are saying that every software system needs to be regulated now because it could have AI in it. And when you give governments that kind of power, they'll regulate it to the death of it. And especially in the US, we won't be able to build anything. And then China will build everything. And then that's a problem. I like the open and free internet. Could it build hacking tools? Could China build hacking tools with AI? Yes. Could we build defense tools with AI? Yes. I think they cancel each other out in that regard. I don't think it can like create a virus that morphs instantly, that overcomes every firewall that exists on the planet, and it's creating 0 days every 0 day of the week. I don't think that's possible because there's rules around that, how that works and how systems work, that it just can't invent the rules. It's kind of like the Matrix, where Agent Smith couldn't break the rules. I just don't think it can, but that's just my opinion. And maybe I'm wrong. But if the world
That
blows
worked out
up,
real well
no one's
for
going
him.
to know that was wrong anyway. So no one's going to come on the podcast.
I heard a great one recently. So get this. I think you'll like this, Bobby. So here's a scenario that I heard that what if the AI could convince a group of people to help it and overcome all the barriers of, hey, it's just in a machine, it's in a lockbox, because the people can do everything. So what if it convinced a group of people like, hey, you're the group, you're the saved group, this is it, it's going to be the AI and you, and we're going to have to do all these things, and for whatever reason, it can convince them to do all the stuff that it technically can't do.
So the plot of Eagle Eye, the movie.
Is it?
Yeah.
I gotta go watch that movie. I have
It blackmailed people. It blackmailed
Okay, well, this
people
is not like black.
So
well, maybe blackmail is one. Yeah, maybe.
They blackmailed
Okay.
people to do things, and they were
Or cult.
and they
Right,
were going
that's
to
what
blow
I'm
up the
thinking.
Capitol and they got a bomb out through the Capitol.
So yeah, I mean, there's ways around things, but I'm in the never say kind of never group. But
Right.
go ahead, Paul.
So I have a friend, he's like really he's very like pessimistic. So one day I'm talking to him and he's telling me, man, the solar like thing is going to spit this thing out. It's going to destroy all the electronics on the planet. And then next week he comes to me like, AI is going to become self-aware and kill us. And I'm like, bro, but you just said that we're going to have a solar thing that's going to happen. It's going to kill all the AI. So we're going to be okay. Like, what do you like complaining about? But it's like, there's always something. But what I think someone should do, because I think this will be the biggest troll. I think like, however you feel about Elon Musk, like he has the money to do it, or anybody who has money, you need to start a new company called Cyberdyne Systems. And it's all about AI, and be like, oh no, it's for the,
It's all above board.
like, it's all about like good of like humankind and blah, blah, blah. But then like always dress nefariously, but do like really nice things, but still like dress like, and always, I think it'll be good. Cyberdyne Systems. I think we got to start a company.
We're going to have this network and it's going to be called Skynet, and it'll be great.
Yes, it'll be wonderful. And then check out these mechs we built.
That's amazing.
And then like they have their theme song is the theme song from Terminator 2. Oh my God, that'll be wonderful.
Their spokesperson Schwarzenegger. Is that what you do?
Yeah, exactly. Cyberdyne.
Okay, so have any of you heard of the term P-Doom yet? So this is
I looked it up.
okay. So this is kind of going around.
Yeah.
So P-Doom is your what is your percentage of AI basically causing humanity to become extinct, right? What is your percentage of that happening? Bearing in mind these people who have like been studying this for a long time, none of them are at 0%, by the way. None of them. Some of them are as high as 50. Okay, so with that in mind, what is? Give me your off the top of your head P-Doom number.
0. I think it's a 0. I'll give it a 0.1. So it's like somewhere north, under 1, greater than 0.
Okay. Do you have a time frame on that or no? Just
forever. I don't think it's going to
forever.
happen.
Wow. Okay.
No way. Not AI. I mean, we'll blow each other up. We may kill each other.
No, this is AI specific. Yeah. No, this is AI specific.
We may have a virus. I think it's more likely we'd all die of a virus than it would be AI.
2020, right?
Exactly. We've already had one of those. So.
Yeah.
Too soon, Bobby. Too soon.
I mean,
But it's true. It's true.
Yeah.
I read this book on biology where it's like nature is constantly evolving, and if we don't evolve just as fast, it's like forget it.
By the way, Sam Altman called the virus in 2018, by the way, as one of his biggest risks to mankind. So, just so you know.
So to Bill Gates.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say I saw a documentary like before COVID about exactly.
Yeah,
COVID.
which is weird, right? Because you go back and watch that documentary, and like, wow, they got that right.
Right. Yeah.
Did they?
Tinfoil hat, right?
I don't want us to get banned, like
Banned
before
from
you start.
saying
Like,
the words.
You just
Which
got it
I
right.
did-
Yeah.
But I'm not going to say the word, but I saw an article about researching that particular word, which was like from like 8 years ago. So apparently they were playing with it, and I don't know what happened.
So what's your PDM for AI, Paul?
For me, like, I'm definitely going to go on the higher side because I feel like I just want to see, Terminator in real life. I think they'll be kind of, I'm just kidding. I don't want to see it, but I think there's a chance, and it's not because of AI. I'm going to agree with Bobby, but it's going to be from the humans trying to see how far they could take it and giving it like that, pushing it that extra step. What if we connected to this? Oh my gosh. What if we connected to this? And then next thing you know, what if we connected to like the power grid? So it could make, and all of a sudden all the lights go down and there's no food and, so I feel like it's gonna not be AI particular, but it's people that are going to be excited what AI could offer and then keep pushing the limits. And like the thing that surprised me when they were testing the first nuclear bomb, there was a 10% chance where they were like, oh, it could burn the atmosphere, but they still did it anyway. And that's the part that I'm scared about. It's the human drive to see how far it goes and not really checking themselves.
Yeah, watch Oppenheimer this summer with Christopher Nolan. That's going to be the best movie of the year. It's all about that. Nice. And the struggle he had thinking it was going to end the world.
So what's your number, Paul? You want to put a number on it?
It's going to be like 25%.
25. Wow.
Yeah,
okay. Wow. Okay. Sarah, what you at?
Well, like Paul was getting into, I pulled the quote from Jurassic Park where Jeff Goldblum says, scientists were so preoccupied whether or not they could, they didn't stop to think if they should. And so I think that's why my number is going to be around 10%. Just because, like I said, I don't think the AI can exist in a gray area. And I think they'll just like figure out that like we're our own worst enemy and like go from there. So, whether it's like, developing a virus or like just getting a bunch of guns and shooting everybody. And, I think it could happen. I'm just saying it could. I've seen too many movies. That's all.
The reason why I made mine so high is because they're already using AI for military purposes. Mm-hmm. And they're like, it's a demo. And so they had two non-manned aircrafts fight real pilots in like some demonstration per se. And I've also seen like the things that they do with drones, where the drone is able to use AI to track the target all on its own. The only thing that it can't do right now is make that final decision. A human being still has to make it. But it's not like the step going to, it's not that it can't, it's that they just right now they don't let it. But they could just say, hey, if you think that's the target, go ahead and take care of it. And the fact that AI could do that now, that's scary to me. And I think it becomes not so much AI is a tool, but it becomes like using it responsibly. Like, are people going to put it in systems that it shouldn't exist in? Like, I don't think AI should decide who's like guilty or not. I don't think AI should decide who's the target or not. That should all be done through like the human process.
Agreed. Now, my number, I'm close to Sarah rather than Paul. I'm nowhere near Bobby. There is definitely a percentage chance because it is never say never, and especially over hundreds of years. Like I'm closer to 10% than I am to 25 for sure, but it's somewhere up there still. It's I just don't know how, but I could see there's lots of ways that it could.
Tell me how. How is it going to happen?
I don't know. Well, I told you one, just the people. You can get the people.
Get the people to do it. Yeah,
I mean,
could work. But there's lots of other ways too. There's lots of other ways.
So, like, what I'm curious about, since these models are shrinking and they could be on a chip like an iPhone, and then eventually they're going to be on something like Adreno, where you could put something and some sort of model. What stops a regular person taking that and being like, oh, I have a drone. Why if I combine those together? What's a flammable substance that I could attach to the drone? And now you have a drone. So like I saw a YouTube video where it's not even using any complex AI model, but this person created a drone which will find your face, and then the drone would fly into you. And he did it as a joke, as a funny video. Like, it didn't have any weapons, but the fact that the drone would just identify faces and fly into them, it was not. I mean, it was funny, but at the same time, you're like, hey, wait a second.
But see, this is why I go to point one. Like, all of those things can happen. Like, we could have like swarms of drones that come out. But what I go back to the point of extinction level, which means like there's no humans left on planet Earth.
Yeah. So,
and it's
I don't think that's the
as
argument.
soon as
about
that happened,
extinction.
we would find a way to beat whatever that was.
Well, don't forget the warning and the 22-word statement isn't about extinction. They use extinction in the headline, but it's not really about extinction. A nuclear war doesn't necessarily cause extinction. A pandemic doesn't cause extinction. It just records a massive loss of life.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So that's really what they're talking about.
But P-Doom is extinction. So like
P-Doom, well, no, it's not really. It's the same kind of thing as extinction. It's not true extinction. It's the 90% of people are gone kind of thing.
So are you going to prep now that you're up at the 10%? Do we need to build bunkers?
No.
Go back to the 50s?
Because there's no point. They're going to get you no matter where you go. So no way. You know what? Like completely going into ridiculousness. What would be hilarious if
we're not already there?
Yeah, but this is going to get really wild. It's like, what are those things from Pacific Rim?
Kaiju.
What are they called? Yeah,
Kaiju,
whatever. Yeah, and so what'll be hilarious. Here we are arguing about AI, and like the ice polar caps keep melting, and all of a sudden we discover kaijus exist, and they come out and they just real havoc. And here we are, like AI. No, there's actually big, gigantic
Godzilla.
Godzilla. Godzilla's gonna do it. So to be honest, that might be like equal amount of chance getting destroyed by Godzilla.
It's true. There's not only one P-Doom. There's lots of P-Dooms. There's just
Yeah, we might not be extinct, but we might be plugged into the Matrix, running as a battery.
Yeah,
copper tops.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. Okay. Let's move on. Let's move on to our next story. So Photoshop released a cool beta this week. So what I thought would be good here is to actually just kind of show this instead of just talk about it. So I thought we'd do a little demo. So they added something called Generative AI, and I have been messing with this this week when it came out. So it's a beta product. Which the beta product itself, by the way, is also super good. It's really, really fast. It's just in general, as a Photoshop user, the beta product is really fast, especially on a Mac. Now, full disclosure, I've only been playing this on a Mac. This is the first time I've installed it and played with it on a PC. So, demo failure could happen here, but we're here for it. So they added this thing. Now, Photoshop's had AI in it for a minute, right? They've had something called Adobe Sensei in it for a while. Content-aware fill being kind of AI generated. Neural filters, some cool features that it's had for a while, but this is like a game changer AI. This is a totally new way of doing this. This uses DALL-E, and it's impressive. It's really now only limited by your imagination. So let's take this image for instance. Okay, what we could do is I'm going to basically
describe that for the people listening, Kevin. What those?
I know. I was going to say this is going to be super interesting for our audio listeners.
It can be. I'm going to try and describe it as I go through for the listeners. So this is an image of a golden hour, taken at golden hour of the lady, and it's kind of cut up from kind of waist height. And what I'm going to do is I want to extend this image. So I'm going to actually take this and just drag a extended section around it. Okay, like this. And I'm going to make a selection of this part right here. And I'm going to inverse that selection. So basically, I've selected the entire white area now, right? And I'm going to click Generate Fill. And I'm just going to leave it blank. I'm just going to click Generate. And what this is going to do is it's going to fill in that white area with what it thinks needs to go in that white area. And it's going to fill in some of the background. It's going to fill in basically going to fill in kind of the bottom half of the subject here too. And it's going to try and do a good job of this, but we'll see. We'll see as it does this. So there we go. There's the first one.
Oh,
that's pretty
amazing! Gosh,
this is pretty crazy.
Isn't that insane?
That's insane.
Isn't that insane?
That's
so.
Wild.
It gives you 3 versions. There's the second version, and here is the third. Oh, I like the third one best. Third one's clearly the best one out of the 3.
You know how AI always hides the hands now? That's how
it should hide the hands, because if you look at these ones with hands, look, this second one here, actually, look, it didn't do a very good job. Her hands are way too big. It didn't do a great job. The first one had hands. She does have man hands. And the first one's like, okay. But this last one is killer look. I think that's you would not know that is not the original photo.
No.
Here's what else it did. Look at this. The sun is highlighted up here in the top left-hand corner. It got the shadows right. It got the sun shining on the part here correctly. It's mind-bogglingly good.
This is what I'm going to challenge you to do right now.
Go for it.
Zoom it out and like make a crop bigger and see how much of the world can you like actually generate.
So here's what will happen. No, this is good. No, this is good. So here's what will happen. When we go too far, it will start messing up. If we go too far, I've tried this a little bit. So if I go a little bit further, we'll kind of do the same thing. And you kind of end up reaching the boundaries of kind of what it can do. Again, I'm just going to do generate fill and we'll have it generate. Oh, not that. I didn't want to do that. Sorry, that's done that wrong. Cancel that. I need to invert it. Let me go back.
Yeah.
And then let's generate it. And we'll see what it does, because this time it's got to go further down the subject too, look. And I'll show you another example too after this, because it works well on certain things and it doesn't work well on others.
Right.
There's some things it does really well and some things it doesn't do very well.
Have you noticed if it's faster on Apple Silicon? Or?
It's definitely faster on Apple.
Okay. Yeah.
The generate part is probably not, because I'm guessing it's going out to the cloud to do that. So it's about the same. But it's generally pretty...
Wow!
Go out more.
Right?
More.
Come on. I just got to see, like,
Break
put it
it.
like really tiny. Like, make it like...
So hold on, they gave me 3 examples too, by the way. There's this one. This is the secondary one. Let's see what this one does.
I just want to see if we'll ever get to her feet. Don't ask me why I'm wondering.
Here's a third one.
It'll be Mickey Mouse.
Paul's just generating feet with it.
Feet, yeah, feet fetish generator. Sorry, not safe for work though. It's only feet. Come on.
And like that's our
It's
next
only
one.
feet,
That's
yeah.
our next
Next
article.
I want to see if she has Frodo feet. Come on, come on. Let's do this. Back it out.
Frodo.
Back it out.
Hold on. I'm just going to go down this time. Then look, we'll just go down.
I'm gonna
here.
get
So we're trying to
banned
get
from
her
the
feet in.
show.
Okay.
This is why your dating profiles aren't working. You're asking for feet pictures.
So here we go. We'll select this area at the bottom here, and we'll generate again, and we'll generate this. So for those listening, basically, what's the best way to describe this? How would you describe what it's done here? Magic? I mean,
Yeah,
it is
magic. So
Yeah.
basically, we have an image, and we extending the size of the view beyond the image, so it's surrounded by blank area, and then AI is generating what the extension of the image would be to fill in the blank space.
Mm-hmm.
And doing a pretty good job of it so far. We'll see what it does.
So
with
what
feet.
I wonder is if it goes around and like finds pictures that are similar, that have more of the picture and kind of uses that as a guide to like fill in the rest.
I don't think it does. No.
Really?
Yeah. No. It doesn't know where this picture was taken. It's not geolocated or anything. This tower over here, I guarantee you.
Sure.
Yeah. This tower over here, I guarantee you, doesn't exist.
Oh my!
Well, because look what it did. It
Yeah.
fixed her feet here. Look, she's actually walking.
Sort of. I think your left
Kind
foot
of.
maybe on
Sort
backwards.
of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all right.
This is the
That's
thing.
all right.
But this is
It's
why
all
it gives
good.
you. Here's the other benefit of this too, right? It gives you 3 versions you get out of the gate.
Oh, those are nice feet.
Yeah. It gives you 3 versions out of the
There you
gate.
go.
They're little tiny.
Plus unlimited regenerations. So if something doesn't work, you just regenerate it and just keep
Right.
regenerating it. There you go.
That one
was
is
pretty
good. Let's do
That's
one more zoom out. I just want to see more of the
Hold on, I
city.
want to show.
I'm
Hold
just
on,
intrigued
hold
by
on, hold on,
this.
hold on. No. I want to show you a totally different image. I want to show you this one.
Okay.
Okay, this one. If we extend
All
this
right, sounds
image
good.
like
As
out
far as
here, and let's
possible.
extend this one like. What I want to make it is I want to make this one like 2/3 bigger. Right?
Yes,
Like on both sides. This is pretty this is a wide, expansive image, right? So
So it's a guy standing in front of a mountains, and you want to
Yeah.
extend the mountains left and right for the people
Exactly.
on audio. Okay.
exactly. So if I generative fill that, and I'm just leaving this blank, by the way, at the minute. I'll show you what else you can do with this here in a second, because you can do more than just have it let it fill in. I can be very specific about what I want it to fill in with as well.
friends for me.
Friends. That's the next story, Paul.
Can
Hold
you
on,
make
you're jumping
Paul a
ahead.
girlfriend?
Hold on, you're
Yeah,
jumping ahead. That's the
jumping
I can
next
show to
story.
my family. Look, mom, I'm not single.
So let's see. This does take a little bit longer on a PC. I have noticed.
Yeah.
Versus on a Mac. It's very. It's a lot snappier on a Mac.
While it's
Why, I
waiting,
don't
I don't know if it's a feature that exists, but
Boom.
they
There
did
we
a
go.
pretty amazing job, actually. That looks somewhat good.
So that's the
feel like
first one. Let's
It's
see
a
for
little
second.
blurry on the left. Well, it's a
Yeah,
little blurry on both
It
sides.
is. Oh, that one's pretty good. I like that one.
that one's good right here.
Oh, yeah, that one's
That
good.
one's good.
Yeah.
I wonder if you're gonna keep zooming out, if it's gonna show the earth is flat. I don't know.
I don't know. But here's the other thing you can do. Look, here's the other amazing thing you can do. Look, I'm going to take this section right here, right? And I can draw a little section right here. I'm going to do generate fill. I'm going to do let's do a cave opening, and we'll see if it can put a cave opening in the mountain right there. See what it does with this. It should work.
I'm literally blown away.
This is amazing,
right? Isn't it? This changes stock photography for me. This changes. There you go.
Oh my gosh, look at that.
Oh my gosh, there's a cave.
There's a cave.
There's the cave.
That's it. I'm not allowed to get Photoshop because this is going to be too wild.
Popping that up there, right? Isn't it nuts?
Show them some other stuff you can do, Kevin. Like in the middle there on the middle. Let's put a waterfall over there.
Oh, we could do that. We could put a waterfall right here. Let's put a waterfall right here. Look.
Yeah.
Right there in front of him. Okay.
Let's put it right here because this makes sense, right?
Yeah, that's where I was thinking. Yeah, so we're in the middle.
That makes sense.
Oh,
Let's do a waterfall. Yeah, it should do this pretty well. It's extremely impressive.
And Bob, you still at 0% after watching this?
I don't think Kevin's artwork's going to end the world.
It might motivate someone.
I don't know.
Get a new.
I don't know.
I actually do have a question for Kevin. And if this is something Adobe hasn't done, it would be like a cool feature to have. You know how sometimes you have an image and you zoom in and it starts becoming pixelated? I wonder if there's a thing that AI could just.
They've already been doing the resampling stuff for a while. I would imagine that in the new Photoshop, it's just better.
Yeah, that looks good.
But you can already scale up things pretty good.
Isn't that
it does
cool?
Get soft after a while, but
it does. Yeah, it does. But
that looks good. That looks good.
Pretty crazy, right?
Come on, palm trees.
I mean,
it's
we can spend. Trust me, once you start messing with this
is addicting.
You can. It's very addicting. It's very addicting.
I'm gonna give it the prompt for this is for you, Paul. So to the guy's screen right in the middle of the desert, let's add the tree of life. See what it says.
The tree of life. Okay.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
Put it over here. Look.
Somewhere in there.
I don't know what it's going to do with this. Because here's the thing: like with stuff like that, it probably doesn't know what to do with it. I'm guessing it will put a tree in. Is my guess. But it might not look right.
Well, there's a tree in Animal Kingdom called the Tree of Life. I wonder if it's just going to pull that
I don't know. Maybe.
What's
my guess is it's going to put a
Avatar?
tree in here, but it's going to be out of context, is my guess. Just because this is not an environment where you may see a tree, I guess.
Exactly.
Although it tried to put something on the left. But but it's going to try. It's going to put in a green tree, is my guess. Oh, no, look. It kind of put in a...
There you go. And that's it
that's
matches...
a terrible life tree.
That's a dead tree.
It's not a tree of life.
But it matched it did match
the context. Yeah.
And that's the point.
So,
that's the point. It tried to match the image. Exactly. That's what it does quite well.
The crazy thing about this is like all the teenage boys specifically, probably going to try to push Photoshop to the limit. And so is there like a guideline or like, is there?
Yes, there is.
Yeah.
Yes, there is. So
parents don't worry because this is crazy.
Exactly. So it does have, it has rails, it has guides. Like if you try and make it do a weapon or something, it won't do that. If the weapon exists in the image already, you can kind of extend the image around that. I've seen some examples of that, but you can't have it like add a gun to somebody's hand, for instance, or it won't do nudity or anything crazy like that. It does have like safeguards built in. It just gives you a warning. It says, "Hey, I can't do that." Like,
and I'm assuming they're handling model. Before the prompting or something, whatever they're getting out, because like it would be like in ChatGPT when people try to circumvent this, like let's pretend and role play. It's like,
it definitely goes to the server. I can tell you that because it takes a second for that warning to come back. So it's not something that's happening on your machine that's whitelisting it or blacklisting it. It's happening at server level. It's saying, hey, here's this thing they want me to do, and it's taking a second, saying, oh, actually, you know what, I can't do that. So it's sending that message back to you and saying, hey, I'm not allowed to do that.
So to me, Kevin, what we've been talking about AI since November now, and so like this is the evolution of the tooling that I think is where AI is going to shine, is when it brings it right into the tool.
100%.
And it's an additive to the tool where everyone immediately jumped to, this will replace Photoshop, this will replace the graphic artist. Even if you guys, Kevin had a great demo here, but I've been trying to use this generative fill for a minute. He makes it look easy. Like there is a little bit, because he's played with enough to know kind of like what it's going to do really well, what it doesn't do really well.
Definitely.
So far as like just starting from a prompt and making stuff, Midjourney's probably still superior to what's happening
it's not
in Photoshop.
night and day better.
But like if you're doing a set extension on a movie and you have like an 8K image and you need to bring it out wider, this is where this stuff will really, really shine. Whereas before they would paint that in with brushes or whatever. Now they can do that in seconds. So I think it's really, really cool. And for coding, once these prompts come inside of coding, I don't have to go out to ChatGPT to go get a list of code and cut and paste it back in. And that's what Copilot X promises inside of Visual Studio. I think that's going to be cool too, on the kind of like what you're seeing there with Photoshop. It's really cool. This is where AI is really gonna like shine.
Well, here's the thing. They did launch this originally as part of the Adobe Firefly product that was online, which I had the beta to that too. But it was, like you said, exactly. It was out of context. It was a demo. It was purely a tech demo. And it was a cool tech demo, but it was out of Photoshop. Now that it's in Photoshop, it is the right tool in the right place, and it will make, I'm using it already, and it's like in the beta. Like when it becomes final, and I've not had it crash on me. I've not had to do anything like wrong. It's prime time ready. It is ready to be pushed out. It's good
the
to go.
selection stuff is like I would say it's 10 times better than the previous version. Like whereas like you can just click on something in the middle and it'll select it.
Well, yes, the AI has been doing selections now for a minute. When you hover over something, you do select subject. It now knows the difference between like the different objects in an image.
Yeah.
And we've seen the advanced version of that too, don't forget, because we've messed with it. There's an online version of this too, part of Firefly, where you can like choose, it takes an image and it breaks that image down into all of its individual components, and you can individually select them and replace them without having to like use the lasso tool or use like Pixel Perfect or any of that stuff. Yeah. It takes all of that complexity away from it. It's cool. It's very cool.
So Paul, what do you think, man? You going to get Photoshop now?
I don't know. I have too many subscriptions that I'm.
It's available in Creative Cloud, by the way, and I think you can get the beta version when you get the Photoshop cloud version, which I think is $20 a month.
Yeah, so we're on
part of Creative Cloud.
So I got to cancel another. So I canceled Netflix. What else do I have to cancel to get my $20 for my Creative Cloud?
ChatGPT.
I think it's worth it. Yeah, I think it's worth it. Yeah. I have like too many. Everything is a subscription nowadays, so it's crazy.
It is.
That's it. Okay, let's move on to our last story then. Speaking of subscriptions and more money you want to spend. So, an influencer, I don't know, this is an insane story. Let me share this too. But
I know, when I saw it, I'm like,
I was like, oh, we have to talk about this. We have to talk about this. So an influencer, a 23-year-old social media influencer named Kara Marjorie, basically created an AI version, or had somebody create an AI version. I'm not quite sure, but there is a company behind this.
Yeah, I doubt it was her.
Yeah, well, there's a company behind this called Forever Voices.
I mean, females in tech are great, but I'm just saying, I don't think it was.
Yeah,
her.
I agree. I think she's just the face of this thing, right? It is my guess. I don't know though. I don't know. I know nothing about this lady.
Some code out, man.
I know nothing about this lady.
Hey, she could be. She could be.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But basically, she created or had a company create an AI version of herself called Karen AI. So the point of this is basically a voice chatbot where you can talk to it and it will talk back to you. There's plenty of demos. You can go look online. Go look on YouTube. There's demos of this where somebody's basically asking it questions and it'll answer stuff back. That's the point. So they basically wanted to monetize this. They monetized this at $1 a minute. Now, I don't know if that was real-time chat. Like, if you jump into the thing, is it like, does your timer start? I don't know. I couldn't find this out, and I wasn't willing to spend the money on it. Or is it like the amount of generated stuff back?
Come on, Kevin.
I know. I should have spent $10, shouldn't I, just to figure out what was going on here. But I didn't want to. This thing apparently has 20,000 users. Okay. They are predicting this thing is going to make $5 million a month on this one chatbot. So they're also claiming that it went rogue, right? And I'm going to say this is a claim. I'm not buying the claim, but I'm just going to throw it out there. I don't know what you guys think of this, but I'll ask you in a second. They're claiming that people immediately started to engage it with sexually explicit conversations, despite the fact that it was apparently told not to do that. So it got jailbroken, despite the fact that it was actually its instructions are it's told to be flirty and fun. I don't know how that makes it different. It seems like it's an easy jailbreak to me, something that they actually intended to happen anyway, because, hey, you're charging $1 a minute, right? So the question is, Paul, how much did you spend? And
I was gonna say, you said $10. I only needed $3. I literally only needed $3.
But hold on, seriously. Even though this is not, it's not. There's nothing illegal about this. Do you think this is like at least maybe immoral, or is it okay? Is this a good thing, a bad thing? What's your thoughts?
I think it's BS, number one. Oh no, it went rogue. It's like they already made the price $1 a minute. If any other service that charges by a minute, they're all not safe for work. So they knew from the start the way they priced it. And to say jail, I think they just wanted to cover their butts and be like, it's not us who made it like not safe for work. It's all the 13-year-old boys that pushed it with their conversations and see how far they could go. But the truth is they knew what they were doing, and it's a way to hook people in. Like they're like, oh no, it's flirty, but like it's not supposed to do that. It's kind of like saying, it's like playing like hard to get almost. It's like they're trying to challenge the consumer to see how far they could push it. Oh, you don't think you could do that? Well, let me talk to like, and then they don't care. It doesn't even matter to them if it's like lewd or not. They're getting charged by a minute, and to them, like, it makes sense to make it whatever it is, because there's plenty of, you know, young men or young women or whoever who want to play these fantasy role plays, and they're gonna push it. So I think it's marketing BS for sure, and they're just trying to take advantage. What you know, like, so I feel like they're just trying to take advantage of bunch of people, and they know what they're doing.
I agree. Anybody have any other thoughts on this?
What do you think, Sarah?
Well, I agree that it's probably like, oh no, what happened? I don't understand. But I mean, AI does learn.
Yeah.
So if you are like, if everybody is like talking to it in a sexual manner, like maybe it is picking up on that stuff and learning how to respond to those queries. Like, even if it's like, okay, don't say this word, this word, this word, this word in like the programming, like they're getting around that. There's so many different ways to engage in that kind of conversation that I doubt they can like input every single, you know, interaction that could be had. So it's going to learn what is, you know, how to respond. And then as it's learning, maybe it's responding to other people with the input they're given from these other people. So it's just, I can see how it can evolve, is what I'm trying to say. Like, even though like maybe they didn't code it, oh no, but I can see the evolution for sure.
For me, like, yes, I agree with that. But at the same time, they could have had like a whitelist, blacklist of words that like should be ignored or stripped out from like the message. So like the AI would never have the chance to learn. And they literally didn't do that. Man. The bigger issue I have like with this is, I don't know if you heard, but like there was a influencer and someone trained like a model on her looks and made not safe for work content with that particular influencer. And I feel that is like what I'm scared of. Like, these chatbots is great, like companies making money. But if we take a look beyond that, and the fact you have voice generation, you have image generation, eventually it's going to be image generation. Like, I was thinking about it, like, how would I feel if someone took my face and created like images, regardless what they were? Like, I would not be happy about it. And I feel like there's got to be some sort of law that says you cannot use people's likeness to train your AI models unless you had written permission. And if you didn't, there should be very strong legal repercussion to be like, hey, you can't do that. And so, this story is kind of like fun, and they did it on purpose. But I think like as the AI continues, there's obviously a lot of good that could come from it, but then there's also a lot of that nefarious use, because now everybody with a cell phone could take a bunch of pictures of random people, and then they could train an AI model to do the most ridiculous things.
So here's what I think. I think it's dumb. I think people are going to do it. I think a lot of people are going to make their voice and try to get $1 a minute. I listened to
next week,
the voice on YouTube. I think the voice, while the replicated voice is cool, I think the inflection and all that kind of stuff is wrong. It sounds really kind of robotic and fake to me. That can get better. We've played with 11 Labs.
Oh, yeah. It can be great.
It can be great. But here's what I think gives us hope for society. Like, we're not going to stay inside and just listen to AI bots all the time, because there's a new TikTok thing out for people called bed rot, where you leave your house all the time. You never like sleep in your bed, and your whole goal is to get outside, and your whole goal is to meet people. And now they're tying that the amount of time you stay at home during the day equal to success, and the more time you're outside, the more successful you are. And I think that's, if TikTok ever has a thing that's kind of good for society, it's that, where we can get out and meet people and create relationships. I think it's sad if your relationship is with an AI bot. I do think that's sad, and like, you can't stop it from happening. You can just hopefully, but it's always going to go to the lewd side. If you go watch Blade Runner, that's just kind of what people did with replicants. I mean, like that's immediately what we went to, like they couldn't do anything else but that, so, I mean, it's kind of weird. That's where we get to.
Hold on,
society.
Alexa. Bobby's telling me we can't have a relationship right now. I'm so sorry, but I'm going to have to divorce you. I know it was a beautiful ceremony, but Alexa, it's not meant to be. Unless you have wheels and you could follow me around outside.
That's coming soon.
Something.
Coming soon.
Right. Amazon robot.
And I totally agree with that. Like, the thing I was saying is more of like using other people's images without their permission. And I saw a story in passing where there was a teacher and somebody trained an AI model on the teacher's photos, and they created a not safe for work video that other students found online. And then they told their parents, "We don't want this teacher to teach us because look what we found." And she got fired. And when she kept saying, "It's not me, like it's not real," a lot of parents, because they don't even understand what AI is capable of, they're like, they can't be fake. How would that be fake? They just couldn't understand, like, why, how would that? And to me, that's the part that I'm like more afraid of, is the fact that literally anybody with like a brain cell could do that right now, and which is scary.
I'm with you. Like, the minimum fine for doing that should be somewhere in the neighborhood of $100 million, something like that.
Yes, exactly.
You're going to be poor forever if you do this.
I think right now, because it's like more fringe, I think that's a thing. As it becomes more mainstream, that's not as much of an issue, because I think we're going to distrust everything anyway.
Right.
Here's what I think about this, though. For this particular thing, this is 100% really good marketing. This is all this is. The reason they're going to make $5 million isn't because this bot exists. It's because we're talking about it right now because it went rogue, right? It made mainstream news because it went rogue.
Smart.
It's genius marketing is what it is. It is absolute genius marketing. They knew what it was going to do from the very beginning. They knew it was going to do this stuff. They just knew that potential was there to do it. While they didn't say, "Hey, come here and say illicit things to this." They didn't say, you didn't say like, "Hey, this is all blocked. Don't try and like break me. I won't." No, because they could. As you said, Paul, they could blacklist stuff. They could have it so that it didn't do this stuff. We've seen pretty good versions of AI that has been walled so that it doesn't get jailbroken, right? This is not one. This was meant to be jailbroken from the very beginning.
I mean,
it's $1 a minute.
AI girlfriend. I mean, that's the name of it. AI girlfriend. I mean,
it's $1 a minute. I mean, you said the right thing, Paul. It's like the 15-minute.
For me, it should be like 50 cents every 10, like 30. Like, I don't know. It's interesting because there's another app called Replica, which had upsell, like where you could opt in to like the lewd version. And what happened, a lot of people like started to like falling in love with like their AI thing, that the Replica team decided to remove that. To remove that feature. And there was like a huge pushback because there's so many people that form these loving relationships with their AI. And it's pretty wild. So there's definitely like something said with, like, I don't know if it's a sign that our society has something that fundamentally we're not taking care of, that there's people out there that find more personable attention from, AI companion than they do from people around them. And that's like really sad.
Yeah, I just think that's why working in the office is good, or getting out every day is good. It's good for your, especially if you're at home by yourself, if you're a single person. It's not good for your mental to stay by yourself all the time.
Well, it makes me think of that Joaquin Phoenix movie, Her, where he's falling in love with his personal assistant. There's another example, Modern Family, Cam and Mitchell, they get a refrigerator that is basically like an assistant, and like they're both like almost cheating on each other with this refrigerator, because the refrigerator's like, hey, I see that you're hungry. Here, I've got some milk for you. You know, but like you were saying, like it's filling their needs, you know, and that's making them like form these attachments to them.
So I'm going to share something about me. So has everybody seen Blade Runner 2047 or whatever the newest one was?
Yeah.
Great movie. So you know how he had his companion, like whatever, then that was just living inside his house. Then he bought this pen that she could be in and whatever. And then there was a scene where they went somewhere and she was with him and he had it in the pen and they get into a fight and he gets kicked or whatever. And like whatever that device was falls out of his hand. And then this chick or whoever, I don't remember, steps on it. And they're like, say like this, like goodbye, and kills his like AI assistant. I cried. I was like, because I was like, there's like a true, like, I was like, I felt for them. It's like, he wasn't real. She wasn't real. And they had this like love going. And then I was like, oh my God. And then I'm like, I'm crying over like AI. And then it got me like on this like deep conversation. Like, what does it mean to be human? And so like, I feel like right now it's like this taboo thing, but I wonder if I'm sure we'll get to a point where there's going to be people that are going to have relationships with like AI.
100%.
Agreed. 100%. It's happening right now. The reason this replica thing exists is because there is a market for it. This is not in a vacuum. There's nobody. I mean, you see these scrolling by right now. These are testimonials from real people, I'm sure.
Yeah. So this brings me back to Bobby being at 0. And I think I figured and at least know now how we're going to get extinct. People are going to find more connection in AI that they won't have meaningful connections with real humans, and people will start having kids the normal way, and therefore the population will decrease to a point where there's no recovering. And there you go.
Or it's just going to go idiocracy again. Yeah. Going back to idiocracy.
Idiocracy, yeah, Gatorade. As you just said, let's listen.
There you go. Okay, let's move on to our null, not null section then to wrap this up. This is our section where we either recommend or recommend that you avoid something. So who wants to go first? I'm going to just open it up. Go for it,
I'll go because I've got both. I've got a null and not null.
Go for it. No.
I was on a quest recently to find a perfect pillow because, you know, I'm in my 40s and I need like neck support or whatever. And I am a side sleeper and a back sleeper. So like I need something. Anyway, I bought this one on Amazon and it looks all like funky. I'm like, oh, perfect. It's got like a space for my arm and everything. It's terrible. Don't ever buy this.
Okay. Link not in the description.
There's this like button right in the middle where you're like,
okay,
yeah, no, don't do that. And then like, it was just like, it's too hard. It doesn't like fit right. Anyway. So
Next.
There's my null. Like, don't buy that. But then, and this was like advertised to me several times. And there's two different ones. There's the pillow cube that's like big, but I'm a teeny tiny person. I'm 5'1", and like, so they have a thinner one. And so this is the pillow cube, but this is the small pillow cube. And it was phenomenal.
I thought you were going to pull out the My Pillow.
No.
Oh,
pillow cube.
We joked plenty about the My Pillow. Did you know? Not to rag on the My Pillow guy because I could rag on the My Pillow guy for days. But did you know the My Pillow guy on his website sells a stand-up cutout of himself?
Oh God!
You can buy it.
I kid you not. I don't even want to pull it up because it's just so wrong. I don't even want to pull it up, but you can buy it.
We joked around that we should have a Bobby Davis cutout on the Coder Fender site.
That's just so. Oh my God! Oh
like
my
who does
God.
that? But
you're not helping.
Can I put one like right here?
All of you are not helping because I just came up with my new company. It's going to be AI generated pillow size person making company where people will just, and it's going to be connected to my chatbot app inside the pillow. So you could chatbot to your pillow before you go to sleep. And it'll be $1 a minute, but it'll be just a friend. It won't do none of that loot stuff, you freaks. You know, but if you jailbreak it, I didn't know how it happened.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my gosh, and it's $40.
Good Lord.
For
You
those
know
watching the
people are
video.
buying it with the face like that. Oh my God, that mustache. See, the guy, I'm going to.
I couldn't resist.
People
Please don't buy
buying
this,
it
people.
as like
Please don't buy
joke
this.
gifts to send to like I
I was
would
gonna
buy
say
that.
that might be my next
I would
white
send it to your
elephant
house,
gift.
Kevin, and you'll be like, "What and who?"
No,
I
you're
wouldn't
probably
put
right. This
anything
guy's
on it.
making a fortune of gag gifts for this thing. You're probably right.
This is like he knows his demographic. He knows smart.
I'm going to get me the life-size Bobby Davis cardboard cutout. Put it on coderfounder.com.
Hey, if he can have one, anybody can have one. Okay, who's up next? Who wants to go?
I go next. I got two. I've got my not null thing. Well, actually, I'll start with the null for the week.
Go on then.
So this is Netflix and Fubar with Arnold Schwarzenegger. And I watch a lot of movies, a lot of series or whatever, and I usually finish them. Fubar, I couldn't get past the first episode, and like they were about to be shot to death in the first episode. And Kelly says, "You can watch the next one." I'm like, "No, we're not. I don't care." In fact, I hope they die so they cancel the series. I want the series to be canceled.
If it's on Netflix, don't worry.
Yeah, exactly. This one is definitely being canceled. Fubar with Schwarzenegger. So I thought, so instead of that, watch Citadel on Amazon Prime. If you want a spy series, that one's actually really good. I watched it all. So Citadel, and you can binge it all now on Amazon. So Citadel, not Fubar.
I'm totally with you on Fubar. I'm the same. I'll watch like a lot of shows and I'll be like, man, I got to watch this now. Even if I'm not really enjoying it, I'll kind of slog through it because I'm like committed at that point. I've started like to change my ways on that to be like, I don't need to watch that because to Paul's point, it's probably going to get cancelled anyway because it's terrible. This one, there's no way there's going to be a second season unless the first one is a total misrepresentation of the entire rest of the series. It's just bad. Like I don't know. He can't say
aptly named. Fubar is aptly named.
Yeah.
Agreed. I'm totally with you on this one. Yeah, definitely. Okay.
You're like, nailed it.
You have you got a null or a not null, Paul? What you got?
This is gonna be a weird one because like I'm not a big water drinker and I hate drinking water. And whenever I drink water, like it's just always annoying, so I'm always dehydrated. So the only water I'm able to consume if it's bubbly. And so I've been enjoying Perrier, or however you say it. I can't pronounce it.
Perrier.
Or to drink. Peru.
Perrier. It's French,
Pink
right?
grapefruit
Peru.
flavor is so good. And then I don't know why I have much easier time drinking water with bubbles than I do just bland water. And so I went to a doctor and literally like she's like, you're dehydrated all the time, you need to drink more water. I'm like, I drink coffee though because coffee has water. It's just like that's not how it works. And so now I'm trying to get myself to drink, if I'm not drinking coffee, drink more bubbly water. So it's really good. And it's zero calories.
I'm proud of you, Paul, that it
folks.
wasn't champagne. I thought you were going to bring champagne. I'm saying this.
Oh, no.
I'll only drink champagne.
The bubbly.
I'll
only drink the bubbly.
Oh yeah, no. When I say bubbly, I mean like non-alcoholic. Just so I'm not a big like people like you're Russian. You must drink a lot. I'm like no, I don't. It's like. But I've been trying to lose weight, so I was like, drink some water. And with bubblies.
Yeah, you've upset Sarah now. As the water lover that Sarah is.
I don't know what it is.
She can send you a water bottle though. She has plenty.
Yes,
I can't. I have a couple. I don't know if I have any to spare.
I totally understand. Unless it has bubbly water, then I'll take it. But I used to date this girl a long time ago, and her biggest thing was as soon as you wake up, you need to drink big glass of water. And she tried to get me to do that habit. And it's like, I despise drinking water in the morning so much that like the relationship didn't work out. And it's a shame. But I was like, I can't get it past that. I'm just like not gonna gobble water like in the morning like some animal. You need bubbly water.
It's just too much.
Bubbly water,
Of all the reasons to
really
break up, you like water. I can't date you.
Yeah, you drink too much water in the morning. I just can't take it. I'm sure there's other things.
I'm married, Paul, but yeah, we'll never work out. Sorry.
I think it was the water and the fact that she was from Norway, and if we wanted to continue the relationship, I would have to move to Norway.
Oh,
but
it was really the water.
It was the water. You would have went to Norway,
right? But it was the water. But the crazy part is, how like sometimes you I forgot what the like you creep on your exes, you like look on Facebook and like whatever. And so like every 2-3 years I look at Facebook and I'm like, oh, she got married. I'm like, oh my God, is her husband a model? This is ridiculous. And then they have 2 kids. I'm like, wow, they have the most beautiful kids. And I was like,
Water.
oh my gosh, look how happy they are. And I'm like, I think I messed up. I should have just chucked that water and never said anything.
Yeah, you know he drinks the water, Paul. That's what
He drinks the water, man. That's why they look great.
It's the water. It's the water. But those Norwegians, they're like 10 feet tall. It's crazy.
That's funny.
Anyway.
Okay, so
I moved on. I was able to. Yeah.
Let's wrap this up with my
You sound like it.
my not null. Obviously, Karen AI is my not null for this week. No, it's not. My not null is going to be an app this week, and I'm going with the Overcast app for the podcast listeners out there. I tried a bunch of apps, right, for listening to podcasts. I like listening to podcasts. I play with a bunch of them. This one has been my favorite because if you listen to podcasts, there's a certain way you want to listen to them, right? There's an order you want them to like play in when one finishes and the next one starts. There's orders you want to see them in. There's things like skipping time, which, you know, if there's ads in a podcast, which we don't have here, so you don't have to skip any of this stuff, people. But, you know, you can, you know, in the future, though, I skip them. I don't care. Like, you know, but you can, there's buttons to skip, right? Like, I set my skip times, and that's the other thing you can do in this. You can set your skip times, which is great. You can set your playback speed. I never listen to them back at 1 times because I got to go faster. I don't want everything quicker. You can go up to like 3 times in this app, which is ridiculous, by the way. You can never listen to a podcast at 3 times. It's way, 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 way too fast. But like 1.25, 1.5 times is probably pretty good for a podcast. And it's a great app. I know it's on iOS. I'm pretty sure it's on Android as well. I just prefer it to the stock Apple one and the stock Google one. I prefer it to Spotify. I just think it's a good app. I think it's free too. It's ad supported free, and there's a paid version too that just gets rid of the ads. And I think it's like $4 or something. It's really not expensive, but it's really good. And it deserves this almost 5 stars, I would say. So that's
I do like listening to my podcast outside of like the app that I use for my music, just because then I can like resume my podcast really easily. So like having it in Spotify, I don't usually listen to it through Spotify just because I want to listen to my music and I want to like resume my playlist where it was instead of like hopping back and forth between the podcast and music. So cool recommendation.
So I have a question about Spotify too then, actually. So on Spotify, if you listen to podcasts and you listen to music, does it affect your recommendations? Do you know? I wonder.
I don't really look at my recommendations, so I don't even know.
I don't think it does your music recommendations.
Okay. So it does differentiate them. Because I wonder, because that's the problem that I have with, like, if you, at least on Apple Music, if you listen to a playlist that you wouldn't normally listen to, right? Like if you, like I've left the house before and I left like a lo-fi hip hop playlist on, right? And it just played like background music for like 2 days straight. Right. And then the problem is when I come back to my recommendations, it's all it's recommending, and it's not what I would normally listen to. I have it on as background music, but it's not my main thing. So I just wondered if Spotify did the same thing. Maybe that's a bug in the algorithm.
Yeah, I'm fully stuck in my 90s and Broadway musical stuff, so I don't deviate much.
Okay. I know I like to find new stuff. I like when it gives me recommendations, I'll always go to what's new, but the algorithm tries to recommend what's new based on what it thinks you've already listened to. And if it thinks you've listened to a lot of a certain type of music, it'll just keep recommending that, at least the Apple ones.
Yeah.
And it's not always right.
Yeah, my main complaint with Spotify is the shuffle. It's like the worst shuffle ever.
Okay. Have you tried the Auto DJ on Spotify?
What is
the
that?
AI Auto DJ? Okay, you need to try this. It's it's partly recommendation, but it's partly AI. So it'll say like there's a DJ on there that'll DJ music for you, and it'll say, "Hey Sarah, here's your music." It gives you like it name checks you and everything, and it's a voice, it's AI voice, and it says like, "Hey Sarah, here's Wednesday," and it's like time for some uptown tunes or whatever. It'll play like things it thinks you like. Apparently it's built into Spotify. I just don't have Spotify, so I don't know. Like, I don't know.
I would only do it if it's Idris Elba's my DJ. So that's what I want.
I was going to say, do they do password sharing?
Morgan
check?
Freeman, he needs to be like the voice for everything. So
he should be. Okay, on that note, let's wrap this up. That's it for this week. If you've made it this far, as I always ask, please leave us a rating and a review somewhere on your podcast app of choice. You can't leave it on Overcast because there is no ratings on Overcast. But if you're on Apple or if you're on Spotify or if you're on whatever.
I don't think Spotify has.
Does it not?
Yeah.
Okay. Some of them do, some of them don't. If yours does, well, we'd love a 5-star rating. Nobody's mailed in to complain yet, so I'm guessing everyone's loving it. I don't know.
Loving the pod.
They're loving the pod. So thank you to everybody who has left a review, who has left a rating. We really, really appreciate it. It really helps us to grow. So yeah, thank you very much for that. And we'll be back again next week with another one. Catch you guys later.